Okay guys, this is going to be our snowflake project. So again, remember to title it with your name and the name of the project. Okay, you should have already made the little snowflake, paper snowflakes, taped them on a green screen and took a picture of them. And so it should look something like these here, as you can tell. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to go get that media and bring it on into Adobe. Now, let me show you. Here's what we look like. Obviously, it's a snowflake taped onto the wall. So what we need to do now is a couple of effects. So go into edit and then in effects we're going to do something first, which is kind of like cutting it. We're going to get a 16-point garbage matte. So just start typing in 16 point, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and we're going to drop that right here on top of the picture. Now notice it kind of changed it up. Basically we're going to cut it. And we're going to get rid of all the green around here. So what we'll do is come in here and hit edit effects, click that, click on the 16-point garbage matte, and notice all the buttons, the pieces show up. So we're just going to bring this on around and cut out all the green. So what this does is this is going to help keep the snowflake pretty much the shape that it's in, instead of looking like a box is behind it. And so once we do this, this will keep it up. You don't have to get real close, but just make sure you don't cut parts of the snowflake out. That would look pretty bad. We don't want any bad snowflakes, just good pretty snowflakes. And so you'll pull them all around just like so. And then once we've done that, we're going to go back into effects, and you need to clear this and start typing green, and green screen will show up. Come drop that on our clip as well, and voila, we have a pretty snowflake. Now that's a big snowflake. We need to make a bunch of small snowflakes, and so what we're going to do is let me stretch this out a little bit. You can see my snowflake here in the timeline. So what we need to do is adjust it. There's a couple ways that can be done. One, we can simply click on it and shrink the box. That's probably the easiest way to do that. So we've got that set. Now we need a lot more snowflakes though, and so what we're going to do here is you come click on the clip, and then right click and hit copy. And then what we're going to do is hit Control V as in Volvo, and that is like pasting. And so I'm going to paste. We're going to make 15 of them. So right now I have 3, so I need to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I now have 15 snowflakes. So what we're going to begin to do is we need track lines for all of these. So right now I have 3 tracks. So we're going to make, let's see, we need one of these tracks. So we're going to make, actually real quick, I'm going to move everything up. You need to leave video and audio 1 track open for our background, which we'll add in later. So I'm going to pull all that up. And since I'm in video 2, we've got 15 snowflakes. I'm going to make 17 track lines. Okay, we don't need any audio lines because the snowflakes aren't making any noise. So there are our track lines. Okay, now that we've got all these tracks, we need to put all of these videos on top of each other, all down the left hand side. And so we click and drag. So we need to keep stacking these on top in each of these track lines all the way through. Okay, So now we've got all of our snowflakes stacked on top of each other. So what we need to do now is kind of spread them out on the screen. And so the simple way to do that is come here and click on a snowflake, move it over. Then you got to click again. It's like a one click and then drag. Don't try to click and drag at the same time, just because it's trying to distinguish which snowflake we're grabbing here. So we are going to spread them out all over the page. Okay, you can see they're all spread out all over the page. Now if you notice, my background is black. I'm going to keep it that way. We will change color at the end. If you make the background now, every time you click on a snowflake, the computer is not sure if you're clicking on the snowflake or the background, so we'll just save the background for last. Okay, now we've got our snowflakes all spread out. I'm going to change the size up just a bit, just to kind of make it a little bit more creative. And so again, just click on them, grab one of the corners and squeeze it down. Again, this adds variety, creativity. Okay, now that I've resized the snowflakes, the hard work of the project is to animate them, to actually make them fall from the screen. So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit so you can kind of see what we're working with. So the snowflake picture is about 4 seconds long. So here's how this starts. We're going to click on our first snowflake, and we need to come hit Edit Effects and notice and click on Motion. Alright, now the scale is what we just did. We could actually make it really big and small if we want to, so you could come do that over here. But what we're working with here now is position. Okay, notice we've got two numbers. Now my screen is set to 480 by 720, so let me demonstrate this for you real quick. If I were to type in 480, oops, that's the wrong way though. So if I were to type 720, notice it comes all the way here. Now if I type in 480 on the height, it's going to drop down. So this is 720 by 480 on the screen. If I were to change this to 1 and 1, notice that I'll go up in the far corner. So there it is there. Now obviously that's not where I want it to be. So what we're going to do though is tell it where to start and finish. So let me demonstrate how this will work. We're going to come over here and click this time clock. This is the important part. This toggles the animation. So you want to click this. Okay, now it knows that we're going to try to animate this. Now, since the red line is at the beginning of the project, I need to tell it where I want this snowflake to start, and that's going to be up here off the screen. And so we need to come over here to the height measurement, and if we were to put it at 0, it's still going to show up on the screen. So we have to go into negative numbers. So we're going to hit negative 30 is about good to get it off the screen. Okay, that's where we want it to start. Now we need to move the red line. In fact, there's a trick. If you hit page down, it'll go to the end. Page up will go to the beginning. So that'll be helpful. So we're going to hit page down. And again, if we were to do 480, it would show up right there at the bottom. Oh, you can't quite see it. It would be at the bottom of the screen. So we're going to make it 500. So now, as our project takes place, our snowflake will move. There it goes. Falls for a 4-second time period. So what we need to do is do that to each snowflake. So you can see this one's animated, this one's lit up. So I need to do that for the rest of them. So I'm going to click on the next one. Those steps all need to be done in the correct order. And what I mean by that is we're going to come hit motion. You need to make sure you hit the time clock. If you don't hit the time clock, it doesn't animate and it doesn't move. So we always got to hit the time clock and then start off at the beginning. So we're going to hit negative 30 for that one. and then we're going to hit page down so it gets to the end, and then we're going to type 500. So that now is our second snowflake that's going to fall. So there we go. So don't worry about it right now. They're actually all kind of falling at the same speed and the same time. Don't worry about that at all. We're going to change that up here in a bit. But you need to go through all of your snowflakes and hit the animate button. Make sure it's at the beginning of the snowflake. Come here and hit -30. That's fine. Hit page down so it gets to the end and type 500. Okay, and so that kind of does the beginning and end point. You can hit page up to get to the beginning. So again, I'm on the next one. So I'm going to come here and hit motion. Hit the time clock. Started at -30. Hit page down. Go to the end. Go to 500 again. And I'll do another one just so you can kind of see them all together. Hit the time clock. Make sure, oh, see, my red line's not there at the beginning, so I'm going to hit page up. Oh, it won't do that since I got the number selected. I'll hit page up. There we go. And then I'm going to start with -30. Hit page down, get to the end, go 500. So right now you can kind of see I got a few snowflakes animated. So you're going to go through and animate all of them. So when you get down to your last one, it'll be the last one on the screen. You should have all of them done. Hitting page down, putting it 500. Alright. And so there go my snowflakes, all falling at the same time, at the same speed. So we're going to change that up here in just a minute. Make sure you save your project, save often. And just a quick reminder on this whole process, if you don't do that right, if you forget to hit the time clock and you change the position, then it's just going to change the snowflake permanently. It's not going to do the motion, the animation. So make sure you hit that time clock. Make sure the red line cursor is at the beginning by hitting page up, and then put in the start time or the start position, and then hit page down to get the red line down here to the end, and then put the finish position. And you need to do that clearly on each one. Okay, so now we've got our snowflakes all spread out. So what I'm going to do now is actually change up their position in the timeline. So what this will do is change when it begins to fall and pass through our screen. And all I'm going to do is slide them around. Just change it up a little bit. Change up the entrance time. All I'm doing is sliding them off just a bit. Kind of changing it up. This might be easier if you stretch your timeline out a little bit so you can see them a little clearer and have a little bit more room to work with. That way you can change it up and give a little variety in there without all of them being exactly the same time. So you're going to go through and do that. Oops. Make sure they stay on their own track. You don't want to get them all messed up track wise. Again, I stretched it out just a little bit more so I can have a little bit more play with the movement of my snowflakes. Okay. I'm watching that first bunch just looked a little bit too crowded. right over there. Those three guys. So that one's highlighted. So if we back that one up just a little bit more, I bet you this is one of them. We'll do a little bit better to spread it out. In fact, let's throw him back here. There we go. Oh, messed up the project. It's always good to have that undo. Keep that there. I think I switched track lines when I did that. There we go. Okay, so I've got about 11 seconds of snowflakes falling. It's not bad. Our project needs to be 30 seconds. So once you've done this though, there's going to be, the rest is actually quite easy. Let me shrink this back down and show you the copying process. So we've already kind of got them adjusted. I'm now trying to get it to where all of them are on the screen at the same time. I think I got it. Oh, we've got one more down there. I don't want to leave him all by himself. Okay, got all my guys on the screen. I'm going to click and drag a box around all of them. I'm going to hit right click and copy. And I want to get this red line right here to the end. And hit Control V again as in Volvo. So it's made a whole nother set. And then do it again. Okay, now if I left it just like that, then it's going to be the same series for 3 times in a row with a little blank space in between. We don't want to do that. So we're going to change it up just a bit by moving these in a tad and drag it all in so it's not quite the exact same pattern throughout the project. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. Okay, now I've kind of filled in the gap a little bit there in the middle. Or not. That's quite a straight line there. I need to fix some of those. So quick ways to fix this. I'm not sure you can see my little bitty screen here, but as I'm looking at my screen up top with my snowflakes on it, I got 2 here that are too close together. So the simple way to fix this is click on one and figure out which of yours highlights down here in the timeline, and it's this guy right here. And so I'm just going to move him back a little bit, and that should trade out the spacing. So there we go. Got some good snowflakes falling. Now to even change this up just a little bit more, what we can do here is use the time stretch. Come here, click on the time stretch tool, and you can just play around with it. You can squeeze them down, you can stretch them out. That will speed and slow up different snowflakes. And so again, this is just, you kind of have to play with it and then see how it turns out. But that will change it up a little bit. So not only do we have them spaced out, but we're changing up the speed of them so it doesn't look like there's just a long repetitive video going on. So you just want to kind of change it up. Let's see how that looks. There we go. Just a little bit. Obviously you might want to change it up a little bit more as you get into yours, but this, for the tutorial purposes, that shows you how that can be done. So the last 2 parts of this is to add a background and add some music. We got to have some holiday music. So the background is pretty easy. I'm going to come down here, and in your video you're actually going to add text by clicking on this T. Now problem is it's probably going to show up in a higher track line, so we may have to go get it and then move it down Although, where is my, oh, look at there, my red line's over here. So I'm going to move this text box down a little bit. Oh, too far. Okay. Needs to be on the bottom because this is going to end up turning into our background. I'll show you how that is done. Okay, so with our text selected, come here and hit this little paint color properties. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. We're going to draw a box first. Click the rectangular tool. Draw a box that fills the whole screen. Then come click color properties. Pick whatever color you want holiday wise. So here I'm going with a little bit of a red. Not quite there, that's a little bit better. And hit OK. And then I'm going to drag it all the way to the end of my video. And then once that's done, you can click on your timeline so that the writing option is finished. Hit play. And you know what? Mine's a little jumpy. Yours probably will be too. And so the way to fix that is to hit enter. And you'll notice this screen pops up. It's rendering. It's just trying to make it a little smoother. And so you do that and it'll be smooth. Alright, and so this is what it looks like. Not too bad. But we definitely need to add some music because this is pretty boring without it. And so unless you've got your own already, go use the keep vid. I'm going to go get my favorite holiday song, Little Drummer Boy. So I'll bring that down here. Obviously it's got video on it, and so I'm going to right click and hit delete video. Drag the audio down here to the bottom. Now don't get caught messing up your grade by leaving all this music still on your clip. A lot of you guys do that, and this is why it takes that much longer for your project to finish. So we're going to make sure we cut the rest of this song and get rid of it. So now we've got just this little clip here, and here we go. And you've got your holiday video. Have fun, enjoy. So the finished product should be 30 seconds, should have at least 15 snowflakes, some holiday color in the background, and for extra credit, if you'd like, you can add some typography to your song for that 30 seconds. That can replace one of your earlier low grades. So good luck.